The next part of this training will address proper storage and handling of the vaccine. The flu vaccine for Department of Health sponsored clinics will come from and be packed by the Public Health Office on the day of the flu clinic. The nurse will supply the vaccine packed in a portable vaccine storage unit, a digital data logger in the unit to monitor that the vaccine is kept at the correct temperature, a temperature log that must be filled out hourly, ancillary supplies, the Department of Health Influenza immunization protocol, an emergency protocol, and a locked emergency kit. Please do not open the kit unless you have an emergency. We will review the contents of the emergency kit later in this training. This slide shows the approved vaccine storage units that might be used to store and transport flu vaccine. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have specified that only approved units can be used for transporting vaccine and keeping vaccine at appropriate temperatures during outbound clinics. The AccuTemp, Vericore, and electric-powered portable refrigerator units are used to maintain stable temperature during the transport and outreach clinics. Here's a screenshot of the AccuTemp cooler with the two belts in place. The freezer belt in the dark blue is next to the cooler walls, and the white refrigerated belt is inside, next to the vaccine and the digital data logger probe. If the unit is missing either of these inserts, immediately return to the Public Health Office. The unit will not maintain correct temperatures if not correctly packed. This slide shows the Vericore cooler. It uses 6 refrigerated inserts to maintain temperature, one on the bottom, on the top, and the 4 sides. If any of the inserts are missing, immediately return to the Public Health Office to get them. Note that the block inserts change phase from liquid to solid when they reach the right temperature in the refrigerator. Only use inserts when they are solid. The coolers are built to maintain temperature, but only if correctly packed. Please note that vaccine coolers and emergency kits must be placed in the front or back seat of the vehicle in a climate-controlled environment, and not in the trunk of a car or in the bed of a pickup. The hatchback of an SUV is okay since the climate inside is controlled. This slide shows the proper placement of the vaccine and the e-kit in a pickup truck. This slide shows the proper placement in an SUV. This slide shows the inside of the vehicle from the hatchback of an SUV. In order for vaccine to maintain its potency, it must be kept in the appropriate temperature range between 36 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Monitor the temperature throughout the day and document hourly. Keep the cooler closed at all times unless the temperature drops too low. Only take out small amounts of vaccine as needed, no more than 10 doses at a time, and return any unused vaccine as soon as possible, but no longer than 8 hours after pickup, and by 4 p.m. at the latest. This slide shows the digital data logger that will accompany your vaccine transport unit. Make sure that the alarm is turned on. The probe should be kept in the middle of the cooler with the vaccines and should not touch the sides of the cooler or the vent. Aim to keep the temperature at 40 degrees. The min-max will be set at 36 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. The digital data logger has a temperature probe that will be placed with the vaccine in the center of the cooler. The data logger will be attached to the outside of the cooler for easy temperature reading. Here's a screenshot of the temperature log. Each hour, check the digital data logger, put an X in the box corresponding to the correct temperature, write in the time, and initial at the top. Take immediate action if the temperature is in the gray area outside the optimal zone. If the temperature goes above 46 degrees, make sure that the lid is tightly closed. Make sure a plug-in unit is plugged in and turned on. If the temperature goes below 36 degrees, make sure the probe is not in contact with the cooler inserts or any electrical cooling vents. Open the cooler and leave the lid slightly ajar until the temperature is returned to the correct range. Please note, if the digital data logger starts to alarm that the temperature is out of range, and it is annoying, you may reset the data logger by pushing the start, stop, or clear. The temperature may not adjust immediately, but should change at the next reading, which is every 6 to 15 minutes. The new digital data loggers typically record a reading of the temperature every 15 minutes. We have asked the public health offices to shorten that time to 6 minutes. Note that the temperature reading that's showing on the digital data logger will not change until the next reading, even if you have corrected the problem and the temperature is adjusting. Please be careful to watch over your cooler and make sure the temperature is coming back into the correct range after your interventions. If the temperature is still out of range after 30 minutes, notify the public health nurse for further instruction. Do not discard the vaccine, but label the vaccines do not use, keeping them in the cooler. Vaccine that's gotten too warm or has frozen may no longer be potent. Ask your public health nurse for guidance. If you cannot reach the public health nurse, temporarily suspend your clinic until you can get further guidance. If the temperature stays out of range, document what has happened on the backside of the temperature log and report this to your public health nurse. After the clinic, but before you return your supplies and any paper consents to the public health office, please make copies of the consents for your records. Separate the consent forms by Medicaid and non-Medicaid for ease of billing data entry. Complete the inventory form and go over it with the public health nurse when you return your vaccine.